Wow. Here we go. Let me turn this up. I'm gonna try to make this quick because I gotta go to work, right? Yeah. I'll leave the citrine there. Hi, Pisces. This is your March 2020. I was literally just talking to Dale, kind of like via text and like by voice. He's like back there. Okay, I'm shuffling the cards for you, Pisces. It's retrograde. What's going on? You're confused about things. You want to talk, but you probably need to just either say the right thing or keep your mouth shut. You probably don't even know what the right thing is to say, right? I'm pretty sure it is. You're being like very slow about things, right? You got to be careful. You know, it's very oppositional also because Mercury is in Pisces and you're feeling that conflict and you want to resolve it. You're anxious to do so. You know what I mean? Because it really is conflict and resolution. Seven of Wands at the bottom of the deck. We're going to split it for the last one. Five of Cups and Seven of Wands, right? We're dealing with Leo energy. We're dealing with Scorpio energy for sure. So it's talking about Pluto, power transformation, feeling the struggle of wanting to feel better about something that's plaguing you. Oh my gosh, you're trying to relate to it, but it's difficult because you don't want to face it. You know what I mean? It really is talking about facing your fears. It really is talking about letting go of old ways, bad habits, things that don't necessarily suit you anymore with this Five of Cups energy. It's kind of like when something that leaves that wasn't necessary anyway. You know what I mean? Things are going to change for you at different points in your life. It's a five, right? That's Taurus energy. Everything that you know isn't always going to be what it is for you then. You know what I mean? At that moment in time, things are always going to change. That's why Mars is in Scorpio here. You know what I mean? It's always going to happen. It's like a little baby death. So some of you are dealing with like, something that ended and you can't fix the ending to make it better so that it feels softer. You know what I mean? It's kind of like things are the way that they are when, based on, the energy, the dynamic, right? You can't change it. And that's talking about something coming to the surface, really being something truth too, right? Something that you were ignoring came to the surface and now you can see it. You know what I mean? And something else is being created from that old reality that is now tarnished. Or now just kind of like, right, that's the word. I'm not even going to change it. I've cut the deck. You got the 10 of Wands at the bottom of the deck, which is kind of like energy that you can relate to, right? Just because it's related to that energy of Jupiter and it's Sagittarius, right? But Saturn is there slowing down that energy. The anxiousness to move forward, you're being taught a lesson here. You're being taught not to take on too much because you do that sometimes, right? Maybe it's kind of like there's too many things going on with you right now. For all of you, it'll be different. It'll be people, it'll be work. For some of you, it's, just the issues that you're trying to solve within yourself, right? It's talking about what your principles are founded on, right? And then it's talking about how you deal with things, right? What's the effort? What are the efforts that you take to reduce things down, right? What is this? It's just a multitude of things here. And you feel like you're alone in the weight of it all, right? But it really is saying like look at this. Like you feel the heaviness, you feel the oppression, right? The only way that you can come get out of it is to go through it, right? You can't go around it. You know what I mean? You can't go under it, you can't go over it. You're gonna have to go through it. You're gonna have to go through this retrograde. You know what I mean? You're gonna get through it on the other side. It's gonna get back to you at some point. When it comes through the degrees of Pisces, Mercury does. You'll feel more inspired. Right now, you don't really feel the inspiration because you're feeling the weight of your problems. So you're feeling uninspired. So it's kind of getting in the way of you just being happy, right? Okay, let me go ahead and lay these out. I need to get this going. And I'm not really thinking too much about what I'm saying. I'm just saying. Okay, and it also talks about responsibility. Sometimes you have to ask for help too, and you need to know where you can help yourself, and you need to begin to start helping yourself, right? And I'm not talking about helping yourself in any way that's monetary, maybe, But no, I'm talking about in different ways that you can take actions to help yourself. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Oh, why is that card coming up? It wants to be lifted. Let me lift it up now. This is unusual for me. Wow. Oh, that's why I wanted to come up, Pisces. Okay, in your Mars position, you have a Mars card. It's the Tower. This is talking about how you're going to have to relate to a change, right? You have to relate to this change. And it's giving you responsibility, assertion, initiative, right? It's showing you something. It's a reflection. Whatever this is, it's a reflection back to you of what's been going on, right? Or what you've been trying to deal with, but deal with in a way that's a little bit like, um, you know, it's inconsistent, it's incompatible. So we're dealing with incompatibility here. That's why the Tower card is in this Mars position. So something was incompatible with your energy, or you were incompatible, right? This is a dynamic shift, and this is a change as well. This is a purification of something. It's the purification of a relationship, or it's the purification of how you relate to a relationship. You're changing it. You might even be fed up with some things. This is for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, or if you have Sun in 12th house. Okay? So you're dealing with that, right? Okay, so let me go ahead and flip over the card that's in the center. Queen of Cups. This is a water energy. This is Cancer. So this is you needing to relate. This is you wanting to reach out. This is you feeling it's the opposition too. The Queen of Cups definitely opposes and squares the energy of the Tower. And she kind of opposes the energy of the Ten of Wands. You know what I mean? So it's almost kind of like the Ten of Wands talks about what you've gotten yourself into, kind of. You know? Right? And then it also just kind of like goes back to this energy of the Tower, right? The Ten of Wands does, because it's Saturn in Sagittarius, and Saturn rules Capricorn. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, and that's where it is right now. And you have Mars here in the Mars position in your reading. Capricorn for you, what house is that? That's going to be your 11th house? No? Yes, it's your 11th house of friendship, right? So there's something going on with your friendships here, you know? And Capricorn is also the 10th house. So you're feeling oppressed by, whatever responsibilities that you have within your friendships, right? And the principles of those relationships and the foundations of those relationships. And that's why the Tower is a 7 and it's coming up in the Mars position. Okay, and then you have the Queen of Cups here, right? And she's Cancer, a little bit of Gemini. What's being said? What are you keeping to yourself that's not being said? Something that you really feel deeply about. You know what I mean? But it's like you can't bring yourself to do it just because it might be too painful for you to admit, right? Because sometimes we keep our feelings in and we don't say anything about them, or we don't communicate them because it's too painful to admit something. Okay, Ace of Pentacles covering the Queen of Cups. This is good. This energy is actually compatible. It does talk about a new beginning, but then we do have a 10 here, right, which is kind of like completion. And then we do have the Tower here, which is talking about the end of something, and it's number 16. So that reduces to a 7, right? And the 7s are talking about wanting something to end, wanting to feel better about something, right? Not feeling stagnant anymore. It's the anxiety of wanting to move forward and taking the action of making something happen to move forward. Okay, we got the Ace of Pentacles here, which is giving you that first house Aries energy, right? Or a leadership energy. It's like a leading card, right? Which then gives you that Capricorn energy of friendship. So maybe there's something that's going to be sort of repaired here. It is an Earth card, and it is over a card that talks about healing. Queen of Cups. So maybe there's going to be some sort of like patching up or some sort of like healing process that we're really going to be applying a lot of different things to. Time, you know what I mean? Not a lot of effort, but just the minimum, right? Because it's the Ace of Pentacles, right? It's the idea of something that can be, of value again. perhaps, right? Because coming from a 10, which is an ending, and we're getting back to an ace, right? So we're beginning again, okay? In your past, you have the Empress, so you could have been dealing with someone that was a Libra or a Taurus, or we could be dealing with a Gemini here, being that Venus is the esoteric ruler of Gemini, right? And this is the 3. Gemini's the 3rd house. Um, could be a Pisces as well, right? And that's you, because Venus is exalted in Pisces. So this is good. This is talking about, in the past, there was somebody that was very meaningful to you in terms of like the dynamic that they brought, maybe the environment, the energy that they brought to the environment, it's kind of like that energy of creativity being inspired by this person showing you things that you would not necessarily see for yourself. You know what I mean? It's like an abundant, resource, right? That you can kind of pull from. You were getting like a lot of different facets. You were seeing a lot of different things that you like enjoyed. You know what I mean? And it's like there's some idea of this person that cannot be changed. It's basically like in your subconscious, the love that you have for this person or the idea that you have for this person, how you relate to them, nothing is going to be able to change that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like in the ether. It's always going to have this sense of balance and love to it, regardless of what's going on around it. You know what I mean? Because it's like the Empress is like, I can make anything beautiful, right? I can see the bright side of any situation, but then she's also kind of like a sense of hope, right? She is, right? Because she is the one that is inspired, and she is the one that is hopeful, and she is the one that does believe in, if she doesn't believe in herself, she definitely believes in you. But you see enough around her to believe in her, because you see all the shit that is multiplicitous about the Empress, you know. And also, this could just be you relating to the past in a way where you're just kind of like, yes, that is a triangle, an energy, a womb, a pocket, a pod of inspiration that will be in the past for me. I can always pull from that resource, but it'll be in an inspired, magical, mystic way. It may not be in an actual real way. Also, this is kind of like missing communication, missing the connection, right? Because the Queen of Cups is looking in the past towards the Empress, right? And these people relate to each other very, very much so, because the Empress rules the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups is now seeing what she valued about the Empress in the past, and now she is longing for that again, right? But something is changing, and something is being taught, right? And the Empress is over here looking like, looking in the other direction, right? She's like, yep, look at all this, right? And it's not like, it may not be things, you know what I mean? It might just be like, look at this energy, right? Look at this aura, right? Look at this, right? Just look at it. Because it also is beauty. You're seeing the beauty in something from the past, right? It's almost like looking through rose-colored lenses at the past. So it's almost kind of like you don't know what you got till it's gone. The Tower is here in the Mars position. Okay? In the Sun position, you got the Lovers, right? And I believe I shuffled the cards in front of you, so you saw it. The Lovers is the focus here. It's talking about reciprocity. It's talking about communication. It's talking about compromise. What is it that you need to allow to flow and fluctuate and change? You need to let the energy adapt to what's going on here. You need to see what's going on here, right? You need to let things work themselves out naturally. You can't force anything, and the Lovers is not talking about force. It's talking about flow. You know what I mean? Letting things occur naturally. That's why these lilies are here. You're going to have to let things just be the way that they are until they're, until they're ready to change, right? The Sun is saying that you're bringing focus to change right now, but it's kind of like you want things to change right now. You know what I mean? And that's why this Ten of Wands is here. Oh, I'm anxious. I want it to happen now. I want to just drop all of these problems that I'm having and just have it be sort of like better. And it's like, what created these problems? right? In remembrance of what created these problems. Okay? Yeah. But the Lovers is also talking about beauty as well. Okay? And the Empress is also talking about understanding. The Tower is talking about victory. The Ten of Wands is also talking about, completion, the crown, the kingdom. You know what I mean? What have I created? Look at the scope of things, right? The Ace of Pentacles is talking about what I know that I have here in front of me. And the Queen of Cups is talking about needing to express something communicatively. You need to allow yourself to heal, because she is definitely on the precipice or on the cusp of healing. She wants to, but she's revisiting what has actually hurt her. And it's good to revisit it if you're going to deal with it and heal from it and patch it up, you know? But if you're not, if you're just going back there so that you can kind of like reconnect to the negative emotions and not heal from it, then you're really just going around in circles, like the Ten of Wands. What are you going to do? That's what the Ten of Wands says too. What are you going to do? Saturn is like, what are you going to do about this? In the Moon position, you have the Ten of Pentacles. Here we go, Mercury and Virgo. It really is talking about, right? Alternate, like, not an alternate universe, but it's like being in two different worlds at one time. Because it's Mercury and Virgo. You know what I mean? But it's like, can you manage being in two different worlds at one time? Can you manage being in two different places at one time? How are you going to manage your time now? How are you going to apply the efforts how are you going to apply the efforts, right, within your time to make things better? How are things going to improve for you? How do you see things improving for you? You know, there's a wealth of knowledge here through feeling the weight of your responsibilities. They're showing you something. You know what I mean? But the Ten of Pentacles is also talking about money. It's talking about, resources. Mercury loves being in Virgo. You know what I mean? But right now he's in the opposite house of Pisces, which he's inspired there. But it's like, when Mercury is in Pisces, it's almost like he doesn't necessarily have any direction. He's kind of like all over the place. You know what I mean? Think of it this way. When, like, moths are drawn to flames, right? But if a moth were to get, like, in water, it would kind of be, like, a little bit uncomfortable, right? It would just be wanting to get cleaned off. So I feel like some of us are trying to get, like, cleaned off, you know what I mean? But then when I start thinking of moths in the water, I actually think of mosquitoes. Which, that's annoying. And I think of, like, scratching and shit like that. Which is crazy. Why am I even talking about that? Ten of Pentacles, money, finances. And it's also talking about saving. It's talking about career as well. Does your career satisfy you? How do you feel about your career? Right? You'll be newly inspired after the retrograde. You'll feel better about your career choices. And it also talks about career path. But you do have the Ten of Pentacles here, and it's still referring back to the Ace of Pentacles, right? Whew. So this is talking about the feelings, the emotions, the gravity of things, right? It's going to get better. You know, it's going to get better with time. And the moon is talking about healing. The 10 of Pentacles is definitely related to the 10th house of Capricorn. Okay? You just got to let time do its work. Right? You know, because time is money. Right? And sometimes people want that instant gratification. And sometimes they got to pay the price of time. Right? And hey, sometimes it's a lot of time because it's more expensive. What happened? The death card and the anxieties. Damn, bitch. So you guys have some anxieties about death, right? Some of you are fearful of that. Fearful of a new identity or changing something about yourselves that needs to actually change. Because Pluto is in Capricorn right now, which is your 11th house. So there's some things changing there. You know, friendships. It also talks about, you know, how your perspective is changing. You need to have a new perspective, or you need to let this old perspective that you have die, right? How you used to see things. That's what you have. You have a fear of that, not being able to do things the way that you have been doing them, right? Some of you are fearing the change of like moving. Some of you are fearing a change of like career. Some of you are just literally fearing death. I know, it's crazy. And the tower here too. Some of you actually might be dealing with a death, a literal one. You know what I mean? Seriously. You know? And I'm talking, this is a general reading, so I'm just touching base with everyone. Um, the death card is also talking about power. It talks about cleansing and transformation, right? Just allowing yourself to face your fears. I was talking about, like, with this 10 of Pentacles here, and usually the anxieties are directly related to the moon position. And I said you can't go around it, you can't go under it or over, you got to go through it. And the death card does talk about that, going through it, going through something. You know what I mean? And feeling vulnerable. So some of you are feeling vulnerable, emotionally detached, but still going through it emotionally, right? Some of you are fearful of the ending of an intimate relationship because Scorpio does rule intimate relationships. You have like Pluto and Mars energy here, and Venus. Okay, so you have Mars and you have Venus. Yeah, and the Death card as well. In your Venus position, ooh, Justice card. So this is, you know, the evening out of a situation. This is beautiful now. Pretty beautiful. I mean, just because the Empress is here, represented in the past position, right? And that Empress energy is sort of like, it sort of like evolves and changes, right? It morphs into the Justice card as Libra energy that comes from the Empress, right? But we have the Empress, we have the Death card, and then we have the Tower. And the Death card and the Tower are like, you know, energy of destruction and transformation and new beginnings and, you know, allowing things to occur that are imminent, right? And then being on the other side of that. So you're going to get to the other side of a situation for sure, right? The Empress is talking about the other side, one reality into the next, kind of like being in between, right? Because that waterfall is basically the high priestess, right? So we're going from another place, one place to another. The Death card is talking about going from one place to another, transitioning, transferring of energy, transformation. The Tower card is a 7. It's related to the Chariot, talking about going from one place to another, right? And then the Justice card here is also talking about a change occurring that brings about a feeling of, maybe vindication, maybe justification of something, right? And it's truth, right? It's truth. And it's an 11. So it's related to that friendship energy. The truth about our relationship, the truth about our friendship. And this is also talking about a new perspective because, bam, something has changed. That scale has now tilted to the other side, and now I have a new perspective, or my perspective has shifted. I said that earlier in the reading. This is a sort of truth, right? It's fairness as well. Hmm. It's the power of knowing the truth. And it also talks about being sensitive, or how a relationship is very sensitive right now because the scale is very sensitive, right? Sensitive to the truth. And being fair in your relationships. The Hierophant after the Justice card. These are both, wow. See, and this is what I was talking about. In the past, the Empress represents Taurus and it represents Venus, or it represents Libra, right? Venus rules Libra and Taurus. Well, you got Libra here at the Justice card in the Venus position. So we're talking about relationship and we're talking about commitment, right? And we're talking about changes that occur within your reality, right? Within your committed relationships. Your committed relationships will not always be the same. They're always going to change. They're always going to regenerate themselves. They're always going to transform. This bottom row is sickening. The Death card, the Tower, the Justice card, the Hierophant. The Hierophant is talking about listening to your conscience, right? When they talk about the Hierophant being the inner ear and Taurus ruling the inner ear, that's your conscience, right? And it's the five, so it's related to that fifth house of Leo. So some of you are dealing with a Leo or a Taurus, right? Or you could be dealing with, yeah. And it's funny because the moon is in Taurus right now. So listen to your conscience and listen to what your subconscious is telling you and your inner ear, right? Mm-hmm. The Hierophant. The moon is exalted in Taurus, and you see that crescent there. The crescent is the moon. It talks about change and evolution. The Hierophant is talking about your belief systems changing and evolving. And they're changing and evolving based on the space that you are in, based on the place that you are in, right? Because the Hierophant does talk about the place that you choose to live, right? Also, it talks about where you subscribe to, right? Those things that you like say, yeah, I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of that. So maybe the things that you are subscribing to are affecting, right? They're creating the reality in your life. So what are you subscribing to that's creating your reality, right? What are you choosing to ignore that is a part of your reality, right? What don't you know because you're allowing yourself to just keep your head down and graze on what you've been grazing on thus far, right? Hello, I'm talking to myself too, you know? Hmm. You are the key to change, right? In the future, wow. Come on now. Saturn and Pisces. You started out with Saturn and Sagittarius. And then I mentioned that energy of Pisces too, with Neptune and Jupiter. And now we're going back to Saturn in Pisces. This is talking about loss. It's talking about the fear of loss. It's talking about the fear of moving on from something that you have been obsessing about or that made you feel powerful emotionally or something that fed you spiritually or helped you feel cleansed in yourself and in your, everything, right? It's the eighth house being that it's the Eight of Cups, right? That eighth house is Scorpio, and this is a Pisces card. So if any of you have Pisces and Scorpio energy, right? Or if you have some Capricorn energy in your Pisces, right? Because this is Saturn and Pisces. Definitely talking about the fear of moving on from something because you felt like you were in control of it, or there was something that you had with it, right? It really is talking about codependency, right? You felt like it was ideal, right? You're holding on to the idealism, right, of it, the idea. And it's mental. All the eights are mental, you know, old ideas. That's why the Hierophant is here as well. Old ideas. Because the Hierophant talks about tradition. It talks about, you know, convention. It talks about, the history of things. How things have been. How things have always been. You know, I am who I am. And it's like, I am who I am. You are who you are in this moment. Who's to say that something won't happen to you that transforms you or changes you, honey? Right? So I am who I am is a scam. Let's look at the top. Temperance, another 5. You feel kind of stuck in between. And here we go. We're going back. We're rounding it out with that Jupiter energy and that Neptune energy. But then we're also giving it that punch of the sun. And then it's also referring back to Venus, which is the Empress who's in the past position. You have the Hierophant here. You have the Justice card here. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the Temperance reduces to a 5. And that is referring to the Hierophant. Commit to change. Things will always change. What are your new goals? What's the new path that you're on that diverts from the old path? The old path probably led you to where it was leading you, where it intended to lead you. And now it's time to reroute, redirect, and move forward from the here and the now into the future, considering what your new principles and what your new foundations are, what you know now, what your experience is and has been, what you want to know, what you want to create, and what you want to bring balance to in your life, really, right? What means something to you? That's the Temperance card as well, right? And it's the energy of angel and spirituality and the divine, right? It's divine source. It's a divine source trying to direct you, trying to lead you in another direction, right? And if you just kind of like let time do what it's meant to do and continue to move forward once you've figured things out, once you've healed, because the Temperance card is also talking about healing as well. It's talking about the growth that you acquire from allowing yourself to heal, right? Let's look at a Keepers of the Light Oracle card for you, and then I'm going to get my ass ready to go to work. I was going to do the weeklies first, but then, I probably would have only gotten like 4, 5, or 6 signs done. So then I was like, you know what, just do the Pisces reading because it's March 1st. It's definitely been Pisces season. And it's Providence Tarot's 2-year anniversary. Isn't that crazy? I realized that today. Am I back? When we started it, it was Pisces season. And 2 years later, here I am. Hi. And, some changes have occurred, but we're dipping in and doing it still. So 4 cards fell out for you, and I'm just going to read those 4 cards. It's a lot, right? What's going on, Pisces, right? Jupiter, Neptune. Paul the Venetian, right? Oh, all that Empress and Venus energy came up. Share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you, okay? And that's for you to see the beauty in yourself, right? in what you create in your environment. Just experience anything that inspires you, right? Creatively, right? If you're just listening to stuff, fine. If you're enjoying art, fine. Whatever it is. If you're creating it yourself, beautiful, great, I love it. Melchizedek, higher learning. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required for further process, right? And that's the temperance card right there. You like eat and sleep? That's what y'all Pisces like to do, in Taurus. Gaia, Earth connection. Thank God. You need to be grounded. Be mindful of the planet. Come back to Earth. Don't be delusional. Stay grounded. It said, come back to Earth, honey. Earth to Pisces. And the last one, faith, humanity, and benevolence. Stay calm. Trust the good in yourself and others. See the light in the world. So, if you've been beating yourself up because of the difficulties that you've been experiencing in your life, then it's saying, relax. Don't, be too hard on yourself. But then you also need to stay being accountable. Let's pull a love, a romance angels oracle card. Because, I'm not really a big old love person in terms of like reading love readings. But I'll do it. I gotta repair these cards because they're so thin that like I shuffle hard. And I like doing it like this, like I'm at a casino. That's how I like to do it. Alright, that's it. Wow. Very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. And the other card is going to blow your mind. And you saw them fall out. Release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy. Okay? And you know how you need to release them. I'm not saying that you know how you need to release them, basically. All right, Pisces, I'm going to leave you there with that. Do I have another one? Let me pull another one for y'all. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be generous with y'all today because you guys waited. And then I think next I'm going to do Virgo because I have to. And then I'm going to do Libra, but then I'll do the rest of the mutable signs, I guess. And then we'll see if I get to all the other ones. You know how it be. But the weeklies are definitely going to be going up. I didn't do one last week, but, leap year was kind of crazy, and I've been really tired. And I didn't have a day off for, like, 2 weeks. But now, yesterday I had the day off, and I kind of, like, slept and stuff. And went and saw our friend last night, read him. We talked. It was beautiful. It was sweet. It was nice. Going through something, too. But he'll be okay. He and his hubs. Career transition. Your life purpose is triggering a blessed career change. For some of you out there, it may not be for all of you, okay? Here's the other one. Prioritize. Archangel Metatron. Focus on your highest priorities. It will help you get organized and motivated. Okay? Thank you, Pisces. That's it for you. I'll see you guys later. And if you're looking for more messages, look for the weeklies.